The UK's summer of strikes is now heading to the skies as hundreds of British Airways workers at Heathrow Airport voted on strike over pay. I'm joined now by tonight's Piers Back, TalkTV's international editor Isabel, Oakeshott, political journalist Ava Santina, and aviation analyst Alex Macheras. Well, welcome to all of you. We're starting with this. Isabel, clearly the airwaves are in turmoil. We know this. Through the pandemic, a lot of people got laid off, a lot of people left the work, and the result now is utter chaos. People can't get on holiday. They're being cancelled at the last minute, not just here, but all around the world. Now, British Airways staff, check-in staff in particular, have decided they're going to go on strike, but it's particularly about one aspect. They say their pay was cut by 10% at the start of the pandemic because of the huge losses the airline were making, that there was a promise they'd get it back. They're now being offered a 10% bonus as a one-off payment, but not the 10% pay cut restored that they had. And some managers apparently are getting the original cut restored to their pay packet. What do you make of it?
Well, what I make of it is I can see why they may well be aggrieved. I just think that the timing of this, just as it was with the RMT strike, is calculated to be as disruptive as possible. This is what they do. And, you know, for British people thinking that for the first time in 2 years they might actually be able to have a half-decent summer holiday, I think that's absolutely for the birds, because this isn't just going to affect BA. I'm sure that it will soon spill over. And
if it's true, and it seems to be, if it is the case that these BA staff had 10% lopped off their salaries, were promised to get it back, now they're not getting it back, they're just getting the bonus, and other more senior members, managers included, have apparently had that money restored. That seems to me very different to what's going on with the rail strikes, where they want another 11% on top of their current existing money. This is about restoring something they were told would be a temporary cut.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, you don't always have to, your default position doesn't have to be to strike. And I think that there must be
Well, what if
other
they're
ways
refusing to give them the money?
Well, then, you know, frankly, there may be other jobs that you have to look to. I mean, how much can people take, you know, in terms of the great British public who have just put up with endless chaos here? If there's a choice to fly a different airline, that's what I would suggest people do, just to avoid British Airways. What
do you think of this, Ava?
I don't think it's about the workers. Sorry, I don't think it's about the British public at all. It's totally about the workers. I think it's obscene that we're even thinking about people going on holiday who are lucky enough to have a little bit of extra surplus money and can go on holiday. And we're not talking about the people who have had not only 10% of their pay cut over the last year, but they're also not getting a rise in their pay with inflation. I think that's frankly
At least they've still got a job. You know, given what everything that the country has been through, they are still in their jobs. Lots of people have had to take a massive
We're not ever lucky to have a job. That's ridiculous. Like, no one's lucky to have a job.
Well, I think everybody's lucky to have a job. I'm lucky to have a job. I feel very lucky to have a job.
I think that companies are lucky
to
still be in profit.
It's not a right to have a job. You've got to earn your job.
It is.
I mean, once again, though, the airline industry, like the rail industry, got massive bailouts from the government. Massive.
Yes.
A lot of the staff were put on furlough. So the government would say, look, we tried to keep this industry running during an incredibly difficult time. And now, you know, I think it's different to the rail strikes. It seems to be a very particular issue they're striking on. And I think on the face of it, it seems really unfair. I've got a lot more sympathy with these BA workers for the issue that they're striking on than I have with Mick Lynch and his RMT gang, who are, I think, holding us to ransom.
No, but they're one and the same. I mean,
they're not, though, are they?
No, but they are the same.
One group wants, say, an 11% pay rise, which I think is a ridiculous thing to be asking for in the current climate.
It's them avoiding a pay cut.
Yeah, but you can't give the entire country what is happening with inflation. You can't.
Well, then you can't.
We go bankrupt as a country.
Well, then you can't let the people at the top continue to make profit and continue to reap money for their shareholders.
Well, there are two issues. I agree that the people at the top should be also taking a hit on this. I agree with that. But that's not going to cover 11% pay rises for the entire public sector.
No, but look...
Or anything like it.
Look, people at the bottom are tired of having to make way for people at the top. For 11, 12 years now, since austerity, people under 30 grand have been shouldering the burden for people on the top. And They're fed up of it. That's why they're striking.
How would you feel if teachers go on strike?
I would totally support them.
Really?
I would.
Given how much time they had,
do you not think
literally
that our
not doing anything in the pandemic, a lot of them?
What do you mean not doing anything during
a lot of them did very
pandemic?
little in the pandemic.
No, that is obscene.
Actually,
they were at home, like, making packets. They were sending home information.
I assure you that a lot
of the time the schools were shut and they weren't doing it. Some were. I'm not denigrating all teachers. Some were, but a lot of them weren't. I had a son at university who didn't do any in-person classes for an entire year and a half, I think.
Yeah, that's fine, but why is the conversation always, haven't the children suffered enough? Haven't the British public suffered enough? Yeah, but we never go, why is the government allowing people to suffer? Why are they paying people abysmal sums of money and expecting services?
Because there also has to be a reality check, right? We are in an unprecedented period here following this catastrophic pandemic. Whatever the decision and thoughts about the decisions we took as a country, in terms of furlough and so on, this cost a staggering sum of money. The kind of money we haven't seen since World War II being shoveled around, right, to prop us up. So once you take that position, these are extraordinary times.
Yes.
I think the RMT, honestly, I'm not against trade unions. I support the idea of a trade union. I think a lot of the time they do very good work for their workers. But when you are representing a group of people that includes train drivers, sometimes earning nearly 100 grand a year.
Okay, but actually,
and you're trying to get them all an 11% pay rise. That is not, in my view, that is not appropriate.
A lot of the people who are striking, as Mick Lynch has explained, are on between £25,000 and £31,000. They're not at the top of the pay scale. We're not talking 60k salaries here. We're talking about people right at the bottom.
But they're striking. One of their main complaints and why they won't continue the negotiation at the moment is because they want an assurance that they're not going to be made redundant. Normal people don't have an assurance that they're never going to be made redundant.
But if you're in the private sector, you've got a choice. You can leave, you can go somewhere else.
Well, I think it's outrageous, for example, that the government has given the wink to the bankers, as they clearly have to say, you don't have to cap your bonuses anymore now to come out of the European Union. That kind of thing really grates with people right now.
Optics,
so we can probably all agree that that's wrong.